Ravens Rundown coming up in just a few moments from right now. But before we do, I want to make sure that you are subscribed to the channels. We bring you daily coverage of your favorite team all in one place right here on the Ravens Rundown. And this week, with the Ravens taking on the Browns, that means that we are in the midst of a sub-battle with the Browns report. And I want to beat Matthew Peterson, the Browns report, pretty badly. And look, let's face it, Matthew Peterson, the guy's a fraud. He leads the dog pound, but he hates puppies. Look, I not only am the leader of the Ravens Rundown and all of you Ravens fans out there and want you to be a part of what we do every day, but I like puppies and I like dogs, unlike Matthew Peterson. So we got some work to do. Let's catch up. Let's beat the Browns report in new subscribers, and we'll get started with today's show. Welcome in to the Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. On today's show, we have a new list, an updated list of wide receiver trade targets for the Baltimore Ravens, with the NFL trade deadline coming up in just a couple of weeks. Now, this is an updated list because one of the big names that we talked about last week, Robbie Anderson, is now off the market now. He's been traded to the Arizona Cardinals. So, with that, we will dive into the list and everything, but let's get to the truth of the matter here. Here's the deal here, folks. The Ravens continue to struggle without Rashod Bateman. Bateman has certainly proven his worth with not being around the last couple of weeks with the injury that he suffered. Now, the good news is that he could return this upcoming week, that he should be back, according to reports that were surfacing within the last day or two. But nonetheless, you have to have other options besides Rashod Bateman in that receiving core. Now, Deshaun Jackson is visiting the Ravens today, but if you've looked at the numbers of Deshaun Jackson over the last couple of years, I mean, he's not what he once was several years ago. So for me, that option is not good enough. Let's look at the statistics of what the Ravens receiving core has been like without Bateman the last couple of weeks. You can see Mark Andrews has been all reliable. He's been great. But beyond that, it hasn't been good for this Ravens team. You look against the Giants, after Andrews, Isaiah Likely had 30 yards. Demarcus Robinson had 27 yards. There wasn't much after Mark Andrews. And the week prior to that, when they beat the Cincinnati Bengals, you can see Devin Duvernay played all right. 5 catches, 54 yards. But there was a lot left to be desired from the guys after that. So there is an obvious need here. I am all in on trading for a wide receiver, finding a running mate for Rashod Bateman, getting that number 3 receiving threat to play alongside Bateman and Mark Andrews. I think there's a need for it. What say you, though? Let me know in the comments section. Type Y for yes, type in for no if the Ravens should trade for a wide receiver. I think that this market, receivers should not cost you as much in capital as the trade market that was going this past offseason. I think the value has gone down a bit, so that certainly helps. What say you, though? Let me know in the comments section. Y for yes, in for no if the Ravens should make a move. So the number one player on my board for wide receiver trade targets is still the same from what it was last week, and that's DJ Moore. And DJ Moore, still a very young player on a, contract that I don't think is, earth-shattering by any stretch of the imagination. And with all the different quarterbacks that he's dealt with over the last few years, if you give him some stability, an offense that has a franchise quarterback in Lamar Jackson, that has other weapons to work with like Mark Andrews and Rashod Bateman, watch out. DJ Moore could take things to another level. I really like DJ Moore as one of the best young receivers and hasn't even come close to what he is capable of. Just putting him in a competent system, I think, would do DJ Moore wonders, and he could come a long way. For me, he's my number one guy that I look at potentially, and you got to like that he already has that contract situation worked out there. Number 2 on my list is Jerry Jeudy. And I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting a couple weeks ago to be mentioning Jerry Jeudy as a trade target, but The reality is this Denver Broncos team is a disaster right now. I mean, they're 2-4. Russell Wilson is washed. They got a lot of problems here. The Broncos are closer to being sellers than they are to being buyers when it comes to the trade deadline right now. And Jerry Jeudy, this is a guy that has a lot of potential, a lot of talent, former first-round pick and everything here. And I don't know, with the direction the Broncos are headed and with all the money that they've dedicated to Russell Wilson, if they can afford, money-wise, to keep Jerry Jeudy, quite frankly. So I think that he becomes an option, an unexpected option, based on the way things have gone for this Denver Broncos team here the last couple of weeks. So, with that said, I like both these guys, both very young, talented receivers here, and would bring an instant impact to this Ravens team. If you want to talk about a playoff push for this Ravens team as trying to win the AFC North and contend to get to the Super Bowl here, these guys could be an instant impact and make a difference. If you had to pick one or the other, who would it be? For DJ Moore, type DJ. For Jerry Jeudy, type JJ. Which one would you choose if you had the choice between DJ Moore and Jerry Jeudy? Your chance to be the GM here on the Ravens Rundown. Let me know which one you would rather have. Today's show is presented by BetUS, the exclusive sportsbook partner of Chat Sports, and they're offering a 125% deposit bonus at chatsports.com/bet. You put $100 down, you get $125 to spend for free. It's a great deal. You can bet on this upcoming weekend's NFL action, college football, NBA. Got the MLB postseason going on right now as well. All available. Chatsports.com/bet. Get your bets in now. Now, this one is going to require some finagling a little bit here. Chase Claypool of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Claypool, very talented receiver, but an intra-division trade does not happen too often in this league. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible. It's no secret that the Pittsburgh Steelers, that they are looking at other options, that they have kind of moved on mentally from Chase Claypool. When you see the money they invested in Johnson and with their young guys that they drafted this past year and everything there, to me, that tells me that they're kind of pushing Chase Claypool out the door. Chase Claypool had a great rookie year, and he's off to a solid start to this year. What I wonder, though, is can we see Chase Claypool be like what he was in that rookie year? Can that guy come back to play if he were to go to Baltimore and play with Lamar Jackson? To me, that's what I wonder is we've seen with Chase Claypool in his young career the inconsistencies. And Ravens fans have seen firsthand going up against him twice a year and being in the same division and everything. To me, that's one thing. There's a few obstacles in the way when you talk about being within the same division, and then I wonder about his consistency. But no one can question that Chase Claypool is a fine football player, but what Chase Claypool are you going to get? That remains to be seen. Number 4 on our list, we head to New York, the New York Football Giants, potentially moving on from Darius Slayton. And the Giants have been the biggest surprise of the year in the NFL. Just one loss to this point in time. And right now, the Giants receiver, his statistics aren't anything too flashy, just 8 catches, 108 yards at this point in time. The thing I like for when you talk about trade value and bringing in another piece, Slayton's not going to require much at all of what you would have to give up potentially. And the way that the Giants have gone, the direction that they're going, Slayton and company there, Brian Dable, just haven't really been on the same page. So maybe he's a guy that you give him a fresh start, he could certainly turn things around. Another name, a new name that we have not, I don't think, ever mentioned when it came to the wide receiver trade market is Kendrick Bourne from the New England Patriots. And Bourne, this is a guy that, this year has played okay. 11 catches, 156 yards, nothing too flashy. But there's a lot of potential in this type of move here. And, I feel like he's been underutilized. Look, you look at this New England team right now. Mac Jones is out. We've seen Bailey Zappi, or Zappi, whatever his name is, Zappi, A young guy. Give me time on his name. Nonetheless, he's played good, but Kendrick Bourne's been kind of forgotten about in the equation there. To me, this is somebody that you give him a fresh start, give him some new life. Watch out. He could take that next step potentially. And another guy that I don't think is going to cost you a whole lot either. Now, your turn here on the Ravens Rundown. Name a wide receiver Baltimore should trade for, whether it's one of the guys that are on our hot board, our list, or whether it's somebody else. Who comes to mind for you? Let me know in the comments section. Name a wide receiver that the Ravens should give a look to in the comment section below. Get rowdy down there. Give me a name, and then tell me why you would choose that name of a wide receiver that Baltimore should bring in. Couple more for you. Let's head back to Carolina now. Terrace Marshall Jr., and this is somebody that's been totally just wiped off the map for the Carolina Panthers. 4 receptions, 30 yards, hasn't done much this year. And with Marshall, what's very interesting is you have a Panthers team that is so bad, right? I mean, they already fired Matt Rule. You got rid of Robbie Anderson. Baker Mayfield's out. He's injured for a while. There's a lot of problems in Carolina right now, and I think that it's like a fire sale for this team right now. And Marshall and then this next group of guys have been the ones that haven't really done much this year. And with that, if you're Carolina or some of these other teams that we're mentioning here, you'll basically just take anything at this point. It's a situation with Marshall where it's a low-risk, high-reward situation here. I don't think that he would cost you too much and hurt you a whole lot if things don't work out. 6'2", 200 pounds, a guy that has some size here and could be a potential good deep threat for Lamar Jackson. I like Marshall. We'll see if that's another possibility. Another name, Scotty Miller of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It feels like that we haven't talked about Scotty Miller much in the last year or so. Remember, he missed all of last year. He was a huge part of the New England Patriots, or not the New England Patriots, rather. I still say Tom Brady and think New England Patriots. He was a huge part of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Became that typical short, white slot receiver that Tom Brady likes. See, I mean, right in that. This is why I was thinking New England here, because the Danny Amendola, Wes Welker, types of the world. Scotty Miller was along those same lines, essentially. He fit the mold of those Brady receivers that he likes. And this is a guy that, he's going to catch passes. He's, going to be a good possession receiver. And, Tampa Bay, they're so loaded at receiver that they didn't wait for him to get healthy necessarily. They've kind of already moved on from him. And you look at this Ravens team, with as much as they've struggled in the fourth quarter, and the way that the offense has slowed down at times, getting the ball to a guy like Scotty Miller in some of those moments of just trying to move the football, just trying to get first downs late in ball games, that could help. I like that idea potentially of Scotty Miller, and we've seen him be successful at this level before. The last name on my list is Denzel Mims. And unlike Scotty Miller, we have not seen anything good from Denzel Mims. Let's be honest here, okay? Denzel Mims has left a lot to be desired. He has not played this year. He was, a former second-round pick out of Baylor. There was a lot of hype about Denzel Mims, but he just has not gotten the job done. Hasn't been active this year, requested a trade a while ago. The Jets have certainly surprised some people with how good they've been this year. Denzel Mims, I think the Jets would just take anything at this point. They're trying to get rid of him. Anything at this point in time. I'm not high on the idea of Denzel Mims. That's why he's last on my list of what I'm giving you here. But, I mean, it's somebody that if you're looking for just anybody, this is going to be the cheapest option by far. Personally, is Denzel Mims here, and he's still a young receiver. Things haven't worked out in New York, but there's still time for him to turn it around. So that's kind of the silver lining. The body frame, it's all there. 6'3", 207, big guy, but can he put it together? Who knows? So, to recap before we go, my top receiver trade targets for the Ravens. DJ Moore from Carolina, Jerry Jeudy from Denver, Chase Claypool from Pittsburgh, Darius Slayton from the New York Giants. Then, number 5, Kendrick Bourne. Number 6, Terrace Marshall Jr. from Carolina. 7, Scotty Miller from Tampa Bay. And then Denzel Mims, number 8. And all of these guys are guys that are being shopped, being looked at of some sorts here, potentially. We're not, saying like, oh, yeah, you're going to trade for DK Metcalf. No, DK just got a new deal. They're not trading DK. We're taking into account the idea, realistically, of these guys being traded. So something to keep in mind there. Appreciate you joining us here on the Ravens Rundown, as always. If you made it to the end of today's video, you know what that means? That means you're a real one. Spam flock in the comments section if you made it to the end of today's video, and we'll see you next time here on the Ravens Rundown. Have a great day.